hard to change bad habits, right? So that's why I push to start now. Because I have a lot of clients. My clientele is really between 30s and 40s. And they're always like, Jen, I wish I would have started back then. I was like, yeah, like, I definitely understand that because it's hard. Once you have these habits that you've been, say we're 20, right? And at 40, we've had these habits for 20 years. So now it's hard to kind of break that because we've been doing that for so long. So that's why I'm like, start now, even if it's something small, like you just have a walking routine. Like we don't have to be bodybuilders now, but just something, just healthy habits that add up in the long run.
Alrighty, welcome to 2 Decades Deep, where this is a podcast exploring the depths of our 20s. My name is Taylor Howard, and I'm the host. And I have Genesis Roberts here. She's a personal trainer. She's an influencer, a fashion mogul.
Oh,
How are you doing today?
I'm feeling good. I like the last one.
The what?
I said I like that last one.
Oh, yeah, the fashion mogul.
Okay.
No, girl, I got to put some respect to your name. But I want you to introduce yourself to everybody. So you got to give us a background of who you are and where you are today.
All right. So I have been a personal trainer since 2020, like the pandemic started that. Before that, I was working at LA Fitness. That's when the pandemic was, right? 2020?
Something like that.
Yeah, like whenever that was. So I was working at LA Fitness for a long time while I was in tailoring school. Then the pandemic really started that. So after that, I started training in the park, actually. I was in the park by my crib, and I was training people there. And then eventually when the world opened back up, I found a gym to train at. And I've been training since then. Since then, I've had a camp in the summer. I've been training in Hyde Park for the last 3 years. And then influencer work just happened during all that, so.
No, that's crazy. But let's back up for a second. So you said you went to tailor school?
Yeah, tailoring school to learn how to sew.
Wow.
Yeah.
So can you just walk me through that and what made you make the transition from essentially fashion to fitness?
So the way I got into, I was at UIC for a year, and then it's crazy. So I had a suiting page. It was just something random that I was interested in. I really was into suiting and fashion. So I did a little page on the side. And then one of my friends, I never told anybody about it, and one of my friends was like, I had a dream about you. Like, you're like this famous, tuxedo designer. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, that's a sign from God. So I told my mom, you know what? I'm leaving school. She was like, you're crazy. I'm like, it was a dream. I think it's God. So I literally enrolled in a tailoring school for a year. And to pay for it, I started working at LA Fitness. So I was there for 3 years before I left to start my own thing. So, but that happened because of the dream that she had. And I was like, you know what, this is a sign. So I'm like, let me go with it. And it was something I already was passionate in. And I was just like, I just needed that little push. So, and I put it on the back burner once I started training. And it's something that kind of just came up recently. So something I'm getting back into.
That's really dope.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that your friend was able to kind of give you a sense of confirmation.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome that you
It was crazy, though. I was like, well, I'm leaving. I'm done. She was like, no, my kids are going to school.
Right.
I was like, not this one. I was like, not this one. So it was, yeah. But
you know what's crazy is, though, kind of going back onto this fitness train, I've actually done your workouts during the pandemic. And I think it is dope that you kind of had that at-home ability. So you're able to still have that fitness, but still able to be safe in the pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know, though, what made you realize, wait a second, this could actually be a full-time career?
So when during the pandemic, it was like I started getting popular because of my at-home workouts. And then I was training people in the park because those gyms were open. And it's just something that people were asking me to do. So I was like, sure, let's do it. Let's do it. So I had a few clients in the park, and then when the world opened back up, I went back to LA Fitness for a little while. It was a short little while. was a short wow.
Short wow.
Yeah, short wow. Because I was there and I was like, man, I hate this. Like, people tell me what to do. I can't really do what I want to do here. And then just on a whim, I was like, I got into it with one of my managers. I was like, in a whim, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go start training people. And I made a post. I was like, I'm accepting clients. And then I got some clients and it just went up from there. I was like, I was just like, okay, I guess this is meant to be. Yeah.
I love this, like, F it, I'm going to do it myself. Like, I'm just going to go with
I'm
it.
like, you know what? That's how it's been the whole journey. So I'm definitely grateful.
No, that's absolutely amazing. And to see now you recently, like not even like a month or two ago, you just crossed 100,000 followers. And I looked today and it is skyrocketing. Like you just walk me through, like, how did that feel to know, like, wait a second, like I'm actually gaining influence in the fitness industry?
That's crazy because when it happened, I was just like, I was praying on it for a while because I wanted to take steps in my business. And I was like, you know what? I want to grow my following so that, you know, I can do the next thing that I have planned, or whatever it is, like products or merch or whatever it is. So I was praying on it for the whole year and it just happened. So I was like, I didn't really say anything about it. And I was like, wow, this is real. It really just happened. And it's crazy because my mentor came to my job and brought me some balloons. She was like, no, we're going to celebrate this. I was like, you know what? This is kind of cool. This is cool. But for a while, I was just like, I've been praying on it. I've been producing content. I'm like, hopefully it's going to happen. And it happened. I was like, wow. You know, I've been strategic. I've been, you know, I'm like, okay, it finally happened. So.
That's dope. I've been following you since the 700 ab challenge, which was absolutely insane and really hard. I love how I've been able to see you evolve over these last few years, and it's been really exciting to see. But we've been talking about a lot of fitness, but I want to know a little bit about your backstory. So you're from Chicago, right?
Yeah.
So can you kind of walk me through that and some of your initial passions? Like, were you always interested in fitness?
So I grew up, both of my parents are pretty active, and I've always been into sports. My dad was a coach, basketball coach. He's still active to this day. My mom was kind of like pretty healthy eater. She was really consistent in what she was eating. So that was instilled into me since I was growing up. So that came from there. I was an athlete, but didn't go far. I was one of those kids. It was funny. When I was in high school, I was one of the ones that like had all the material, you know, I had all the fit. I was weak though. So once I left high school, I was like, nah, this isn't gonna work. But I was always into just fitness though. So I was always doing something, just not the sport part. So and then where did the fashion part come about? That happened for my mom too. My mom was very into fashion until still to this day. And yeah, I think that's pretty much how that started.
I gotta know, what sport did you play though? You said you were weak, but what sport?
Basketball.
Oh, dang,
I don't even like to say that one because that was because of my dad. My dad was like, I really wish I play basketball, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna play basketball. I'm gonna play. It's going.
I was on the team.
It wasn't going nowhere, but it was going.
That is hilarious. Yeah, I was on the basketball team too because of my dad.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say that I was good, but I wasn't. And I remember like those rides homes where my dad was like yelling at me like what you should have done and what you should not have done. So yeah, I definitely feel the whole basketball vibe.
I was like, why am I even here for real? Like, you know, my friends are really good. So it's just me on the bench, like, woo, like I'm just the real supportive friend or whatever. And then I was running track. I was better at track. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm like, I was just there, you know.
Yeah, but it sounds like
I was athletic, but just coordination. Something was off.
Something was lacking.
Something was off.
Something was lacking. It's okay. It's okay because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing right now.
It wasn't meant for me.
Exactly. There's something for everybody, right?
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is I love what you're talking about. Like your mom really influenced you with fashion and fitness. I'd love to know if there's any advice that she's giving you that you have kind of taken with you in your journey so far.
With fashion, right?
Mm-hmm. Or fitness.
For fashion, I don't know if I take this advice all the time, is that it doesn't have to be expensive. You know, that was one of the things. Like, we used to, like, thrift a lot, me and my mom. And I just be like, dang, I just be like, But I didn't necessarily love it because I didn't see the bigger picture with it. And she was just always putting something together. I was like, now to this day, I'm like, it doesn't have to be expensive to put it together. Like, you can just put things together, and it can be different looks and stuff like that. It also have variety. Her closet is huge. Like, I'm just like, when do you even wear this stuff? She was like, just in case. Just to have it.
Yeah.
She's never stressed when, like, there's, like, an event or something. She was like, I got a little something that I bought, like, 3 years ago. I'm like, okay. Just to have it there. But, with fashion and then fitness, not much. That wasn't her thing. That wasn't her thing. She was just very consistent in her eating habits, though. Yeah. So I learned from there. But it was really my dad and my stepdad that helped with that part, instilling that in me. But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about consistency for a second. Mm-hmm. So you said that you've been trying to grow your platform since 2020, like during the pandemic. That's when you really got on here. What allowed you, or what drove you to be consistent within like content creation?
There was a while. At first, I think it was just I was bored a little bit. I would say that. So during the pandemic, it was like a lot of people were just making content to make content. And then it was a long period of time where I wasn't posting, and then it's like I would get messages like, "Hey, your post really helped." Like the community aspect really got me going forward, pushing, because it was a long period of time. I kind of got burnt out. So I got my in-person clients. It was doing really well. And then the content, I was like, I don't have the energy, And then it was just like, I'm not gonna lie, I went to a Drake concert. And he said something. It's crazy that, he's a big influence. He said something like, I'm constantly producing. Like, he was like, I have an album coming out. And I was like, your album just came out. And he was like, that's the difference between me and other artists. I'm always producing. I'm like, he is always producing. Your album just came out. So that's kind of pushed me to start constantly producing. So the fire kind of went up in the last couple months with me just constantly. I'm like, you know what? I got to post 3 times a week. I got to post. Because there was one point in time I'll post, and then a month ago, and I'd be like, dang, I got to get something out there. I got to do something. So it just kind of recently just, it's like, I got to keep going. I got to keep pushing and being consistent. Yeah.
I love that Drake spoke to
I know, it's crazy. I was like, did Drake just really just make me want to post more?
He just ministered to you.
Did he just minister? I'm like, is this guy talking to me? Like, it was,
I love these little...
I hate telling that story, too. I'm like, I sound a little silly, but...
No, honestly...
Drake made me do it.
No, literally, Drake put you on. No, yeah. I feel like things like that are really important because... Yeah. I mean, it just shows the power of influence. And those one little nuggets that people say that they may not think is that deep, but for you, it was everything, and it shaped you, just like that dream that you had, like the dream that your friend had. So I think that's really awesome. Yeah. Also, like, another driving force to you is to make sure that people have better lives. So I'm interested to know the motivation behind that as well.
So I think that I was fortunate growing up to have parents where it was still instilled in the house. So my mom didn't buy snacks. I used to hate that, but then now I get it. Never had pop in the house, no snacks, just fruit and food. I'm like, there ain't no zebra cakes in here. You gotta go to the store and get some honey buns.
I lived on the house.
You're right, but I'm fortunate growing up in that space. My mom ate the same thing, like beans and spinach. We gonna switch this up. No, she ate that.
Oh, okay.
Don't force me. That's abuse.
Okay, I'm like, oh dang,
that's abuse. But yeah, my dad was very active. To this day, he's almost 70. He still runs miles. Like, that's just, so I'm fortunate to be in that space. And I feel like it was easier for me growing up in that space. I know a lot of people didn't have that. So I feel like me helping just with habits being built now, helping them build habits now. Because I had the habits coming up, and there's a lot of people that didn't. Yeah. So it's just like I feel like I am able to help my clients build habits, and that is just something that keeps me pushing. So I'm like, I know I had it, and it's time for me to help other people build these habits as well. Because that's the starting point of it.
No, totally. And I think what you said is really important, because, like, the reality is, living in Chicago or living in any inner city or whatever, there are food deserts, and there's not a lot of exposure to healthy living. And so the fact that you're able to take what you learned growing up and apply that and to help other people is huge, because a lot of people don't do that. And a lot of people don't realize the impact that you have in your 20s and how that can affect you earlier. Like, I love how your dad is still running and he's still able to be active, but the reality is what you are putting into your body and how you're active will shape how you are in a couple decades from now. So could you just talk a little bit about the pressing force of you trying to make sure that people have better lives in their 20s, because the reality is what we do now will affect us later.
So it's hard to change bad habits, right? So that's why I push to start now. Because I have a lot of clients. My clientele is really between 30s and 40s. And they're always like, Jen, I wish I would have started back then. I was like, yeah, like, I definitely understand that, because it's hard. Once you have these habits that you've been, say we're 20, right? And at 40, we've had these habits for 20 years. So now it's hard to kind of break that, because we've been doing that for so long. So that's why I'm like, start now, even if it's something small, like you just have a walking routine. Like, we don't have to be bodybuilders now, but just healthy habits that add up in the long run. So like just simple things. I always like to preach that too, because people will look at me and be like, oh, I need to do this. I need to do 5 times a week. I need to jump rope every day. I mean, that's fun though. But I'm saying, like, these extreme things, well, really, it could just be something like simple, and something that becomes a habit. That's easy to become a habit for you. So I definitely think it's important in the long run, just for health, like just to be able to still walk up the stairs, with your groceries, and just be functional and be able,
Yeah. No, that's really important. I feel like in college, I was eating whatever I wanted.
It was
Pizza,
bad though.
Fries, wine, all
food must
of
have
that.
been good. Your food was good.
Oh, U of I's was really good.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was delicious. What about you? You don't sound like you was.
I'm a bit hated. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, it was delicious. It was so good.
No. I had food poisoning like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, what y'all putting in that food? I was at UIC, which is like, like a small branch off. Like a cousin. It's like a cousin.
Yeah, it is.
The little cousin, though.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't give us nuts. Like, I'm like, this is it. I'm getting food poisoning. My mom like, you okay?
Dang.
Like, what they doing? What they doing to you up there? I'm like, really? It's just the food. It's the pizza.
Yeah.
Or the veggies or whatever's in there. But I got food poisoning in college because I feel like it was something off.
Oof.
Yeah, it was something off.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but ours was completely on.
I'm sure.
So
I heard.
Yeah, it was delicious. But I realized, like, oh my God, I'm getting sick. Like, I wasn't even feeling okay after a while. And so I think it comes to the point where I understand that things are bad for me, yet I'm still going to do it because, like, it tastes good.
Yeah, and it's also a habit. And that's okay. It's just like we take small steps to break those habits. It is important to us, though. It's just about you being ready for the change. I tell a lot of my clients, and just people now, like, if you're ready at this time, it's your time. It might be a couple years from now. You're like, okay, I'm 30, now it's time, and that's okay. We can have fun. I recently just stopped drinking, but I will start back again. It's just not the time. Like, it just depends on the time for you that works. I just try to make sure people are pressured, like right now, like when you're ready.
Right.
Because we have a lot going on. It's like some of us got kids. Some of us got other things going on. So I definitely get it. But changing habits just depends on when you're in the right space for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's talk about that space, because I think that fitness is half actually being active.
Yeah.
Then we also have the eating component, but something that we haven't touched on is the mental aspect of it. So can you just talk about how important it is to be in that mindset to change?
That's one of the biggest things, which I've actually been working on with my clients a lot more as I develop as a coach, is like, you know what? I'm drilling eating good into them. I'm trying to drill working out, but it's really the mental. Like, if you're not ready, like, it's like I said, if you're not ready, you're just not going to want to do it. It's like, I got too much going on. You just have to really do that mind shift. I think that it was a point in time where I was just like, in the last year, I wasn't doing content. I wasn't working out as much. And what helped with me was really finding God, right? And that helped me on my journey. I was like, just being consistent. So it's different for everyone. Like, motivations, like health and family, like things that happen to your people around you, like that might push you. But for me, it was definitely finding God, and just that consistency there went over to my consistency in fitness. It's different for everyone. once I started doing my gratitude journal, that also helped me too. I was like, I'm grateful for my able body. Let me use it. So that is definitely one of the biggest things that people don't realize. I feel like it's not talked about as enough. It's like, dang, I gotta eat good. I gotta work out. But also I get this mind right.
Yeah.
You know, and eliminate things around me that are throwing me off. Right.
Yeah.
It could be many things, but you know, and that also plays into it, your environment, right? Which also goes into the mindset as well. But yes, it's definitely very important. Yeah, if you're not ready, if there's too much going on, if there's too many things going on in here, I definitely push people to focus on that first. And then come back when you're ready.
Yeah, 100%. I love what you said. Like, I heard this quote one time. Oh, I hope I'm not going to mess it up. Let me try. Let me think.
Okay, we're going to get the gist.
Yeah, we're going to get the gist. We'll get the premise. So it's saying that fitness should not be viewed as a chore, but more as a privilege. And so I think that you talking about being grateful that you're able to move your body is a game changer. And I love what you said. Like, if you fall off for a second, take a break and come back. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize. It's like, oh my God, like I'd be like, shoot, I missed 3 days of the gym. Like, now what am I supposed to do? I feel like I got to start all the way over. But you're saying like, no, take a break, give yourself a second, and then come back.
But don't take too long. I usually tell my clients, I'll be like, my day was terrible. I'll be like, okay, take one bad day, but not 3 or 7 or 2 weeks, you know?
Yeah.
Like, don't let today distract you from tomorrow and the rest of your goals. So I definitely, you know, try to give them grace and tell them to give themselves grace as well.
100%. And it was really, something that you said was also really interesting about when you got consistent in one area of your life, everything else kind of bled over and you were able to be consistent in other lives. So can you just kind of walk me through the moment where you're like, okay, let me lock in. I know that you said you started to get into your relationship with God. But like, what were the practical things that you started to do to get back on track?
I got a trainer. Yeah, I got a trainer. I got a coach. Good coaches need coaches. You know, that's always my philosophy. It's something that I'm missing right now. It's just some things that I need extra help in. So I got a coach. And I got serious about that. And I also cut my schedule. So I used to work crazy. So I used to work from 5 to 8 p.m. Of course, I had a gap.
That's crazy.
I had a gap in between the day. But then I was like, you know what? I really want to devote the more time to my fitness. And I can't do that if I'm drained, I'm tired. Every time I get a break, I want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I want to go home. Yeah. Actually, I want to go home. So I cut my schedule to being Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I'm off at 11. So now I get to go to the gym after or do other things to focus on my business and content. So making that change and just eliminating things in my environment. So I cut my schedule, got single, and then I throw that in there. And then I got a coach. And I think those things all just helped me. And then focus on my relationship with God, because that consistency really pushed me. And then also my gratitude, just gratitude journal, that was my first step before really like tapping more into my journey with God, like just being grateful for the things that I have. And one thing I used to put on there all the time was I'm grateful for my able body, you know, and that's just something that I'm like, you know what, let me move more. So those were like the 4 things that really helped drill it into me, like helping my consistency.
No, I think that's really helpful. And I love what you said. You had to cut the things, the people, or your schedule in order to really have a good life. And, you know, something about you is like, you are in fitness, you live a healthy life, but you also have fun. Yeah. So you can just talk about the balance and how you were able to prioritize your personal fitness, your brand, but also be outside and have fun.
Yeah, so, right, when you have a goal, of course, you have to lock in on some things, say no to some things. And that's where I struggled a lot with at one point. Like, even with, like just the social, like your friends, like they're kind of judging, like, dang, I can't come out this weekend, or dang, I can't drink, I can't take that shot. So I kind of I try to go out. Well, I still go out, I just don't drink. That's my balance right now. So I still want to have the fun, but I still got to think about the goal I have for myself. You know, and it's different for everyone. So I go out, don't drink. They be looking at me like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay, give it to me. I'll give it to somebody else. Like, take this double. Take this double with me. Yeah. No, not toss. I'm going to give it away.
Oh, okay.
Like, take this double.
I've tossed it.
Then my friends be driving like, it's good. I'm driving anyway.
Right.
You know, so that helped me with my balance. I'm like, I'm still going to have fun, but I'm going to make the most of the days that I'm not out of town. Like, if I'm home, I'm making the most out of these days. If I know I'm going out of town Thursday to Monday, I'm making the most of Monday through Wednesday. Then when I get back, I'm right back to work. So I just try to make the most of what I have here. And you know, when I'm out of town, I'm out of town. So I think of where
Thank you, Emma.
All right.
You know what's so crazy is that, like, you really can't pour from an empty cup. And so I think, I'm sure, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but as you started to also be able to focus on yourself, you've been able to focus and pour into your brand, your business a lot more. Yeah. So can you just talk a little about the evolution of your brand?
I think, so when I got back into creating content, it was like, okay, what can I do to stand out? Like, finding niches. Like, what things about me can I make content about? So it was one quote, strengthen your strengths. So I'm like, okay, instead of working on my weaknesses, what do I have like that I can make more content about? Like, what can I do more with? So I started focusing on tall girl content. That was a good one. So I was like, okay, so my brand has kind of changed into just embracing more people, right? So just tapping into the tall community, tapping into just the 20s, like our fellow 20s, and getting them in shape. And yeah, so it's really changed just me focusing on one area a little more.
Yeah, so
what is this? I'm over here thinking, like, I'm like,
no, I've noticed the tall girl content, and, you know,
yeah.
I mean, I'm no stallion. I'm a pony.
Yeah,
I'm 5'7". I'm a little tall.
Yeah, like a pony.
Yeah, like I'm a tall girl.
Yeah,
tallish.
Yeah.
But like I remember the times where I would get yoga pants and I would be flooding, and like there was just not a lot for tall girls. So can you just talk about this like representation or this motivation to be like, no, I'm gonna make this tall girl content?
Yeah, so people always be like, where you get your pants? You never flooding. I was like, you know what? You're right. I am never flooding. Because it was really my mom. My mom's tall. Well, she 5'8". I've called that medium before, but I'm like in the tall, like, because to me, a lot of my friends are like 6 feet, like the girls. So they're like 6'1". So I'm like, okay, medium. And my mom helped me. Like, she always was wearing like pants that were really long. So that like helped me. So I was like, I got to help them. Because people always ask me on my content, I'll be doing fitness, I'll be working out, squatting or something. They're like, the pants. I'm like, okay, y'all want to see the pants. Okay, so we post the pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do we get our pants from?
Amazon. It's just brands that I'm working with now. So as my platform has grown, a lot more brands have reached out. So there's this place called Ninth Closet that I love. Or even like, I'll make sure, like, these are custom pants, and I got them from Ron Lewis. And I told him, I said, I need a 38-inch. You have a 38-inch? He was like, I can make that happen. So I sometimes they're custom.
Yeah.
Or like I just look for certain inseams. And, you know, Amazon has been great for me though. And Amazon, and then Night Closet. I have some of those tags on my Instagram, but those two are my faves.
Yeah. And as your platform grows and your representation essentially is more highlighted, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot more tall girl pants in the future. So I think that's really dope, that how powerful influence can be and how it could really like change things. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
But we're going to play a game real quick. We're going to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And the game is called Is It Really That Deep? And you have the opportunity to debunk or address a few things that are regarding health and fitness.
That's fine.
So I have a few questions, and then you can speak your thoughts, and then we'll go from there. Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So is it really that deep to work out 7 times a week in order to see results?
No, it's not that deep.
Why?
It's really about what works for your schedule, right? People are busy. Everybody can't do that, you know? So 3 to 4 times a week is fine, like lifting. And then just daily movement. You know, people don't think about the importance of daily movement. Daily movement is just walking. Like, you know, just walking around the house, cleaning up. Like that is considered daily movement. So it's not necessary. Mm-hmm. Do what you can do, but also focus on the smaller things that you can do. Because people think about the big thing. Oh, I need to fast. I need to this. I need to do the extreme. You don't need to do the extreme. You just got to do the simple stuff. Consistently. Do the simple stuff.
Thank you for telling me that.
Yeah,
doing the most.
People do the most. People do the most because they want to fast results.
Right.
Like we've been okay, cause BSing But for a while, like for years, and then it's like, okay, I want to
Yeah.
rush and starve for 2 weeks. No. You knew your birthday was, you knew your 25th birthday was 3 years ago. You knew for 25 years, you knew your 25th birthday.
Not you calling me out.
Not you. You took.
No, I'm saying not you calling me out. I'd be like, my birthday in a week. Let me.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you have to do the extreme.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling me that because I feel like I do struggle with
ahead.
You're right. Speaking of planning ahead, is it really that deep to have a split or a consistent workout routine, like doing the same things each time? Because I feel like sometimes I'll be in the gym just off vibes.
Yeah.
Just off vibes, just picking the machine that I want to do. So is it really that deep to have a workout split?
I mean, it just depends on what the goal is. Like, everybody doesn't have the same goal. If it's just to be active, like, you can switch it up, make it fun, do something that's going to work for you. Like, it doesn't have to be extreme. Like, if you want to do a different class every week, you want to do boxing this week, next week, Pilates, and the next week, whatever, that works if you just want to be active. Depends on the goal. But for, like, building muscle, progressive overload, it comes with consistently doing the same movements and progressively overloading the same movements. So it just depends on the goal. But for that, I would say doing the same thing weekly is important.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's just general fitness, though. If you just want to be in shape, you don't have to do the same thing. If you don't have, it just depends on what your goal is.
Yeah. And I love how you're saying, like, it really just depends.
Yeah, because people will look and be like, oh, I got to do that, I got to do this. What's your goal? It's not the same. All of our goals aren't the same. Some people want to be bigger, some people want to be smaller, some people just want to be them. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's okay. Yeah, it just depends on what route you're going on.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So you talked about walking and movement. So is it really that deep to take 10,000 steps a day? And I've been seeing that all the time. Oh,
it's funny because, you know, back in the day, way back in the day, the cavemen.
You took it way back.
I mean, all the cavemen you see be swole, don't they? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't see the out-of-state cavemen, right? Because they was walking to get their food. They was walking. I tell my clients this all the time. I got 6,000 steps. Well, back in the day, they was swole. They was skinny. They was skinny because they didn't have a car.
Yeah.
They didn't have a desk to work at. They had to walk. They had to fight the deer to get it. I mean, if there was a deer back there, but I'm just saying, they were getting their 10,000 steps. And that's why they were in shape. You know, back in the day, anywho, like I said, it's very important. Daily movement, which is your steps, right, takes up 25 to 30% of weight loss, right? So that's just moving more. A lot of people who work from desk jobs, like I see my clients, 3 to 4,000 steps. So just being active and moving more means 10,000 steps.
Yeah. So another thing I want to know is how is it really that deep to do upper body in order to get this hourglass shape?
Unless the genetics is there, you know, but if it's not, it definitely helps. As you build muscle on top and the bottom, of course your waist has the illusion of getting smaller. So definitely, if that's your goal of the hourglass shape, upper body is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it really that deep to wear waist trainers and sweatbands in order to also...
there's a lot of things that are extreme that aren't necessarily necessary. Mind you, they can be. I'll wear a sweatband if I just want to get a good sweat. You know, I was like, okay, I want to see an extra sweat. But it's not necessary. A lot of these things are just because we just want them. If you just want to have a waist trainer, you just want to have a waist trainer. But it's not necessary, you know.
Yeah.
You can do those things without it.
Yeah.
You can get abs without it. You can be slim without it. You can get whatever results you want without it. But it's just an extra, you know, if you want to use it, use it.
Yes.
I'm not judging, but I will judge when my client comes in with a waist trainer to lift. Take that off. Take that off right there and leave it at the door. And you can't breathe. But it's like that's really my problem with it. It's like, cool, I'll do a little cardio and it's something cute, but lifting, you can't breathe.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. If it don't fit, then you don't take it off. Because you're not doing nothing for real if it don't fit. It's not super tight. Because waist trainers should be tight.
Right.
They should be tight.
Yeah, mine was loose.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I wasn't working. That's why I don't have an hourglass.
You should have left that at the door. Okay.
I have a few more. It's really that deep, and then we'll transition a little bit. So you talked about sweat. I feel like if I don't sweat, if I'm not sweating bullets, I didn't work out. So is it really that deep to know that you had a really good workout if you sweat?
So go off your heart rate, right? Like if your heart rate is high, like over 140, like 160. You know, if you're really doing something intense, it might be like 170. Go off heart rate and intensity, like just how you feel you're doing in your workout. If you feel like you did your best in your workout, some people are sweaters. I'm not the biggest sweater unless I'm doing like something crazy. But I'm not the biggest sweater. Everybody's different. I have certain friends that don't sweat. Their hair don't sweat. My hair, if I go in the gym with a flat iron, it's coming out crazy. So like everybody's different. It goes off more of how you feel you did in your workout, your intensity level. So it's not the biggest, indicator of how well you did.
Yeah. And kind of going off that, is it really that deep to, like you're talking about intensity. So let's talk about pre-workout and all, like, what is it? The pink salt and the honey, that combination. So is it really?
Is it the pink salt and honey?
Yeah. Did I make that up? No, I think that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like pink salt and honey.
What that do?
It's supposed to give you that, like, that same vibe as like pre-workout.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds dangerous.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think there was a long period of time where I was into all that stuff. I was doing pre-workout every day. And I was like, I don't even need this. Like as I go far along, it's just like sometimes I don't need it. But I definitely say take pre-workout when you're like tired. Like it's been a long week. I don't feel like doing this workout is gonna help.
Yeah.
As you go.
Yeah. Another thing with intensity is like there seems to be this huge fascination with like ice baths, like the cold water showers after you work out. Is that really that deep to do that afterwards?
I don't know much about it to speak on it. I'm just real plain, like consistent in what I'm really stuck in my routine.
Yeah.
I go to Lifetime. Well, I go to Lifetime, and we have like sauna, stay room, recovery room, ice bath, warm bath, pool, anything. And I don't use any of those things. It's not on purpose. It's just like I'm just stuck in my routine. Right. So when I go in there, I'm like, gym, home.
Yeah.
My friend be like, we gonna get in the jacuzzi? Yeah, we do got a jacuzzi.
Yeah.
Well, but get in the jacuzzi. Yeah. But I'm usually just stuck in my routine. I'm like, let me get in and get out.
Yeah.
So I don't usually like do the extras, but I'm sure they're beneficial.
Yeah. My last one is it really that deep to lift heavy in order to gain muscle?
Yes, it is. It is. Thing about muscle is that when you damage it, it grows. If there's no damage to the muscle, it can't grow. And you do that through intensity and progressive overload, which makes the muscle grow. So if you just chill, like just do it, just working out. There's people that go to the gym for years and you might not see anything. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if their goal is to build muscle, they have to lift heavy.
Right.
Because you have to stress your muscle out enough so that it grows. If it's not stressed, if it's just cooling, it's not gonna grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I have one more. Is it really that deep? So we talked about lifting heavy weights, but how deep is cardio in order to lose weight?
So if you have a good diet and intense workouts, you might see results without it. Everybody's body is different. And if you want to get to the goal a little fast, I definitely would say implementing cardio is important. I mean, some people, don't necessarily do cardio, but the fat comes off a little slower, and that's fine. But cardio definitely helps speed it up a little more. That on top of good nutrition and lifting. Yeah. So it is that deep, but it just depends on what the goal is. If you're like, okay, I got somewhere to be, I need to trim a little faster, then it definitely is that deep.
Okay, yeah, because I'd be eating up the 12, 3, 6.
Yeah, 12, is it the 12, 3, 0? No, is it what? 30, 12 through 30.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be eating that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
I have my clients do that too.
Yeah, it's really beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to save you here for too long, but I have a couple more questions just about where you're headed, where you're going. So I'm interested to know, let me back up for a second. So we've talked a lot about fitness. We talked a lot about fashion. We've even talked about faith and balance. But is there something that people don't know about you? Like what's something that people will be excited about or surprised about when it comes to you?
Good question. Okay. Who? That's a hard question. I feel like because of social media, I put a lot out there. So I feel like I don't know if there's nothing that I'm not open about right now. It's nothing that I'm hiding now. I'm very consistent with the things I do. So it's pretty much the same things, fitness, fashion. I travel. I used to travel a lot. I kind of slowed down. I'm just slowly trying to pick up new hobbies so I can have something exciting to say. Like right now, it's not too exciting. It's just me just working on my business, my in-person business, and just figuring out what's next. Just, I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah, and I love that. I'm still figuring out. And I think that's what the 20s are all about. Yeah. You're literally learning as you go.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the really cool part about your 20s. So I'd love to know, what are you excited about? What's next for you?
So I'm definitely working on some merch right now because people are always like, come on. Like, where'd you get this? Where'd you get that? I'm like, I need to produce these things. I have a couple brand deals that I'm working on right now. And then figuring out where I'm going in my business, my everyday business. So I am excited to see how that continues to grow. I've been doing online training and in-person training for the last 3 years. So I'm just excited to see where that goes and where that ends up. But I'm still figuring things out.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see where your branding goes, where your content goes. And I'd love to know, there's a lot of people that want to be content creators, and there's a lot of people in particular in fitness. So I'd love to know, what were the things, you talked about consistency, but what are the things that worked for you in order to build your brand?
So starting out, it was the challenges that really, like, just figuring out something that people will want to do that's not too hard, like that's not too difficult, but like difficult enough to where it's like, dang, I want to try this. It's a challenge. So because people like challenges, they just want to show that they can do it, which is definitely what I love to. That's why I love challenges. Just people, it shows you what you can do. Like with my jump rope challenge, people are like, I didn't know I could do 2,000. I'm like, well, you can. So keep going. So yeah, that was cool. So that was the thing I did a lot. Challenges, just. It was at one point I was using different trending songs, and just constantly producing. So that's the only way you know something works, if you're consistent with it. Okay, I'm consistently doing this. It doesn't work. Let me try something else. Like I'm consistently doing this. It's not working. Let me try another thing. And then you eventually find what works. So that's just what I definitely always recommend. Just being consistent. That's how you know in the long run.
Yeah. And I love you talked about like what works and what doesn't work, because the reality is everyone's different.
Yeah.
And what may work for you may not work for someone else, and vice versa. Yeah. And I'm really glad that you were able to have this tall girl content as well. And it's cool that you're having merch and you're having that representation. I'd love to know, is there anything that we haven't talked about in this conversation that you would love to emphasize about fitness, so you would want people to know, or even any resources that people can get when they're first starting out in their fitness journey?
I definitely would say to ask, like if like starting out, if it's someone that you're like, okay, I really love what they do, don't be afraid to ask. They might not answer, but I'm always answering. But like back when I started out, it was people that I would reach out to, they wouldn't answer. And I'm like, all right. Also that, so just asking people like people that you admire, and just, finding tips, and just also doing your own thing and just figuring out what sticks for you, I think that's it. Just asking questions and trying things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, with content creation and with fitness, it can be really challenging kind of putting yourself out there on social media. I'd love to know, how do you deal with some of the hate or some of the negativity that you get in social media? What pushes you forward? Like, what kind of keeps you grounded and like, okay, I need to stay on course despite the negativity that I get?
So I deal with it, actually. I actually deal with it. No, but it's funny because I really don't care. And it's just like, since I don't care, it's kind of like, that's what pushes me forward. Because I know my purpose. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident in what I'm doing. And it's like, I'm the type of person right now, of course they'd be like, hey, it's gonna hate, don't say nothing. I'm gonna say something. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm gonna say something.
You gonna handle it.
I'm gonna handle it. Yeah. And then I think that's where a lot of my supporters came from too. Because they like, dang, I followed because you was clapping back. Yeah. Yeah, so that's me. So I deal with it. I think that I deal with it well because I don't care and I know my purpose. Like when you're not confident in what you're doing, it's like, okay, maybe they're right. I know they're not right. So it's just like, that's what keeps me pushing.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is cap. So let me reply. So the thing is, I'm like,
I'll be somewhere crying in the corner.
I'll be like, your mama. I'll be like, you did it too. I'm like, I'll be done now. Like, do. And I just be going to work because I'm like, I know my purpose. And honestly, I feel like if you're doing something like good or like if you're working on you don't have time to hate on somebody else. So obviously, you're just a hater. So that's why I'm playing. Yeah. But that's just something that just keeps me going. It's just like if you know that you're doing something good, it's like nothing. You're very confident in your faith in God, right? That is what's pushing me. My steps are being ordered and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely.
But I am going, I might not clap back in the best way. I deleted a couple comments now. Yeah. I done cussed a little bit, but yeah, so it's just, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. I love that. And I love how authentic that you are behind your content. Like, this is, I said what I said.
Yeah, so I said I'm standing on business.
Yeah, stand on business. Stand on it. Yeah. So, Genesis, this has been amazing talking to you. I'd love to know, how can people support you? Can you give me your Instagram, like your social media handles? How can people support you?
Okay. Well, my Instagram is Gemini Jen. People call it Gemini Jen sometimes. Like,
that's what I thought it was.
They'll meet me and be like, Gemini. It's not Gemini. It's not Gemini. No, it's Gemini. I actually got that from my mom. I was like, give me a name. Like in 2020, I was like, give me something. Mm-hmm. She's a writer. She's very creative. So she was like, you be in the gym, you're a Gemini Jen. You know your name?
I love it.
Yeah, because it's just the Y, the gym.
Yeah.
So that's my Instagram. Look forward to things coming up. I do have a camp that I host in the summer. So I'll definitely be getting into more things with the community as the weather gets warmer, So that's pretty much it. Just stay tuned for updates. It's going to be fun. The summer's going to get fun.
The summer's going to get fun. And our bodies are going to be
snatched on a yacht.
On a boat.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Yeah.